So you saw the title, and you all know that, well, you know by now, I failed the DevNet Associate Exam. In this episode, I'm going to talk about how I ended up taking the exam, if I would retake the exam, and if I did retake it, what would I do different, and also some resources that I used. So I hope you find some value in this episode. If you haven't yet subscribed on YouTube or your favorite podcasting app, please consider doing so because this does help out the channel. So stay tuned. Welcome to Debt Free in IT. I'm your host, Mike. This podcast is for anyone who's looking to get into the IT industry, whether it's a career change or you're just interested, you come to the right place. The DevNet Associate Exam. So this is a new exam by Cisco. I say it's probably been around since about, if my memory serves me correctly, probably about 2018, 2019. I remember it came out just a little bit before COVID. And this exam, it pretty much prepares you for the network automation side of things. And I think it's a growing thing, and it also will continue to grow. I know as I look at different jobs for networking, you always see that they want you to have some sort of programming skills as well as your networking skills. So this DevNet exam, it helps you to prepare to be ready for that part of networking. So you may often hear me say that DevNet is a mixture of networking and development, and also that if networking and development had a baby, the result would probably be DevNet. So with DevNet, they have looking up some job roles that it prepares you for. You have job titles such as a network automation engineer, software developer, and also a system integration programmer. This certification is also valid for 3 years, just like other Cisco certifications, where every 3 years you need to either recertify for that same certification, or you can take a different certification, which is a higher certification or a different field of certification, such as if you had a CCNA networking, you could take a CCNP security or something of that nature. And if you pass it, it revalidates your old cert as well as you getting that new cert. Then you have another 3 years. And also you have some, I think they're called continuing education credits that now you may be able to use, which will help you to recertify without having to take that same exam. So that's also pretty good also, because sometimes if you're not ready to go to that next level, you may not want to go back and take that same exam again. So if you're able to get these continuing education credits, they could go towards you recertifying for your certification that you already have. So what made me take this exam? So over the past couple years, I have become really interested in coding, especially Python. So pretty much after me graduating and getting into the IT field, I started to see how valuable knowing how to code was. And if you knew how to code, I always related to it as the closest thing to being a superhero, because you can take whatever's in your mind and create it and make it work and have it automated. Also, watching people create scripts where there's a task that you no longer have to do. You can just set your script up to run at a certain time, and that script handles everything. I always thought that was a valuable asset. So coding, like I said, is something that's been on my bucket list for a long time. You may often hear me joke around and say how I've been messing with Python for the past 5 years. And like I said, it's not an easy skill to learn, but I do think it is a valuable skill. So with the DevNet, like I said, I was interested in coding, especially Python, but my main skill set is mainly networking, and I do have some desktop skills as well because of those positions that I had before I got back in networking. But my main bread and butter, I would say, is networking. So when this DevNet came out, I just passed my CCNA for the second time. And after I passed my CCNA, that's when Cisco rolled out the certification changes. So I took the previous CCNA, which had a little bit more technologies on it that you had to know. And then after that, they changed to the current CCA that we know of now. And so when this came out, I was like, man, I was interested in Python, and I saw that it was included in this DevNet certification. So I was like, okay, that's the best of both worlds. So I kind of put it on my bucket list as, okay, this is something that I want to try to attempt in the future. But I always knew that, okay, you need to know at least some Python and some basic Linux almost. Fast forward to a year from then. So a year from then, like I said, I was fortunate enough to make it to Cisco Live for the first time. And the experience is like I said, I can't rate it highly enough. That was my first time going to Cisco Live. It was in Las Vegas, so it was a lot of firsts for me. First time getting on a plane, like I said, first time going to Vegas, and like I said, it was. If you get a chance to go, I highly recommend it. It's just nice being around people that's the same as you, that has the same skill set or maybe the same interest in common. Because a lot of times, if you're from a small town like I am, you don't hardly meet people that's doing the same thing that you're doing. You know, there may be people that's doing it in your town, but you rarely come across them, or if you do come across them, that conversation rarely comes up. So it's just nice being around thousands of people that come from all over, and all of them have an interest in this certain technology. So if you get a chance to go, I think it's a great networking event. You meet a lot of people that you may stay in contact with. You just it's real valuable. So if you get a chance to go, I highly recommend going. So during this time when I went, they have different sessions that like breakout sessions you can go to, learn about new technologies, learn about what's coming down the pipeline. It has a wide range of different sessions you can go to. So me being interested in DevNet, I went to one of the DevNet sessions. So during one of those sessions, they was like, okay, we're doing a giveaway. So if you look up under your seat that you're sitting on, that you're sitting at, if you have something up under your seat, take it out from up under the seat, open it up and see what it is. So me, just my luck, I look up under my seat, I pull out a paper and it says free DevNet certification that expires in a year. So this was about June of last year. So I had won a chance to take that DevNet certification for free, but I had to take it within a year. So I won this certification, but I had to take it within a year. So after I leave and get back home, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to dig in, start studying for this thing. I got a year. I think a year will be good enough for me to get prepared. But as you all know, life happens. So during that time, I kind of lost focus. A couple months went by. I think I might have been studying for something else. A couple months went by, and next thing I know, I got like 3-4 months maybe to get ready for it. So, I started studying, and this is gonna bring me on to my next bullet point, which is some resources that I use. So around this time, I had bought the OCG book. So usually, if you listen to any of my videos, I always buy the OCG books. So I bought the OCG book from Cisco Press for the DevNet Associate Exam. Also, I had some videos from O'Reilly's that I referred to. So I had my book and my videos. And then there was a course on developer.cisco.com. So where, they have their sandbox and everything. But they had this course that they had rolled out. It was a DevNet fundamentals course. So I started searching around, doing some research on that course. I got the price at the time, but it's no longer there now. I think they might have moved it to the Cisco Learning website. But around this time, they had the course, and it seemed pretty interesting. It went along with the certification. So I was like, okay, I'm going to give this a try, because I knew that this was something totally new, and I might have overthought it, or I might have not put enough thought into it. So I went ahead and after a couple months of using the book, and then I really didn't have a way to get any labs in, because like I said, this does a lot with the coding aspect. So I really didn't have a way to get any labs in. So first starting, I was all over the place. I think I might have first started just doing Python courses. And then I realized that, okay, I don't have enough time to cover all this Python. I need to go ahead and get into it. So I kind of switched back and forth, but eventually I got this course. And like I said, the course was good. I don't have no complaints off the course. It went along with the topics. It's just that I probably think I was a little bit behind the ball on it. I probably waited a little bit too long before getting this course. So I bought the course. I had the OCG book. I also had some videos from O'Reilly. And then I also found someone had wrote a blog post on Medium and they put it on LinkedIn. So this blog post was just talking about their experience with the DevNet Associate. I think the guy name was Daniels. I'll try to, if I can find it, I'll put a link to it in the exam topics. But his name was Daniel, and I forget his last name. But he had a very good Medium post on the DevNet Associate, where he also talked about this fundamentals course that he used, and he liked it. So another thing he had in that post was he had the exam topics mapped out to what chapter of the OCG book covered that exam topic, which is one thing I always like to do, because I would print out the exam topics and pretty much make note of what chapter covers what. And then that way I would start from the top looking at the chapters. Okay, I need to read chapter 22 first. Okay, that's pretty much my way I would go work through those exam topics. So he already had all this done in a post, so it was a time saver from that aspect. And like I said, if I can find the link again, I will link it in this video. But he had this the exam topics with the chapters mapped out, so I referred to that post a lot. And also, referring to that post, it gave me motivation. So sometimes with these certifications, you have to find a way to get motivated. Whether it's a motivation of, okay, I need to pass this to make more money, or I need to pass this to get a better job, or I need to pass this to whatever your motivation is. So for instance, when I was taking my CCNA last time, my motivation was, in my head, I had convinced myself that if I didn't pass it, or if I didn't get this certification in a year, I wasn't going to have a job. Now, was that true? No, I wasn't told that if I didn't get this certification that I was going to lose my job. But in my mind, I had to really find something to motivate me on that aspect, to make me where I would come home and study every day. And by me putting that in my mind, which may be a little weird, but by me putting that in my mind, it made me come home and I did an hour every day till I was ready to take that certification. So I'm just saying that to say this, that sometimes you want to find something that motivates you. Around that time also, that's when I started looking at a lot of YouTube videos myself, and I found guys that motivated me also, So I found those guys that motivated me that was talking about the CCNA, because I knew that was what I was going after. So sometimes just watching other videos and stuff on whatever you're trying to study, it gets you motivated and make you ready to go and study yourself. So, like I said, the resources I used were the DevNet for Fundamentals course, the OCG book, some videos from O'Reilly's. You probably can find some videos at other places also. I know CBT Nugget has some videos. There's a couple other places that has video. So one thing with those, you just want to see if you can find any feedback or any reviews that someone may have left about those videos. And then you just choose which one you think you would like the best. And also I use, like I said, Daniel's LinkedIn post, which I think was very helpful because the exam topics was already mapped out to the chapters. If you're finding value in this episode and you're listening on YouTube or your favorite podcasting app, please leave me a review or a comment. If you have a friend who might find this interesting, please share this episode with them. So, taking this DevNet Associate certification, as we all know, I didn't pass the certification, so there's no nothing that would make you wait to the end. The title of the episode is probably I failed the DevNet Associate. So what would I do different next time? So next time, I think the first thing I would do is get more comfortable with Python, Linux, and some GitHub. I would think I would probably either find good courses on those first and try to get comfortable with those 3 topics, get real comfortable with those, and then probably move back on into that DevNet Associate and start studying for it. Another thing that I think I would do is I would find a way to get more labs in. So I really didn't, I think in the DevNet Fundamentals course, it had labs embedded. So that's one thing I like. They had labs embedded into that course to where you didn't have to go to no other site or anything. It would just open up from that course. and then it would start. You could just start doing the lab from there. So I wasn't able to do all the labs, but it had some of the Python labs in there, and a lot of the GitHub pieces was in there. So I would do more labs, and then also the last thing that I would do is probably the I guess the most important is I would give myself more time. So, like I said, I had a year to study for it, but actually didn't start studying until probably about 3 months or so before I had to take the exam before my year expired. So I would actually spend more time on it. By spending more time on it, like I said, if I'm going to learn Python, Linux, and GitHub first, I'm probably gonna need at least 6 months or more on this certification. So something I would do different, get comfortable with Python, Linux, or GitHub, do more labs, get more lab time, and also spend more time on it in general. So I would probably do that next time. And then it comes to my last note is, will I take it as in? Will I take this exam again? I do think eventually I will probably circle back around to it and take this exam again. But next up on my plate, which probably should have been before DevNet, but like I said, I got DevNet for free, so I wanted to at least take advantage of taking the certification for free. But next up on my plate is the CCNP. So the CCNP, I had started studying for it a couple of years ago, and then, like I said, I switched jobs, so that kind of halted some of my studies. But now I'm fortunate enough to be able to start back studying for that CCNP. It's been on my list for a while. As you all may know, I'm an instructor now, but not sure if I would get back in the field and use it or not, but it's always been on my list, and also just in my instructor role is going to make me more better at doing that too. So I do plan on circling back to the DevNet, but the next thing on my list is the CCNP, which I'm very excited to start digging into the CCNP and studying for it. So I plan on doing a video on how that goes and some resources I'm going to use for that. So stay tuned. We'll see how that goes. So that brings me to the end of this video and this podcast. I hope you found some value in this episode. If you're watching on YouTube, please leave me a review or a comment. If you're listening on your favorite podcasting app, please leave me a review or a comment on there. And also, if you're on Instagram or TikTok, you can follow me at DebtFreeInIT. If you have any questions, you can email me at debtfreeinit@gmail.com. And other than that, I'll see y'all next week. Peace.